So after we have our story all set up and we know sort of what they're going to ask us about, we know for a fact they're going to ask us to look for a problem in sentence 3, sentence 9, sentence 13, sentence 18, sentence 25, and sentence 34. So since we know that, the next step that we do is we're just going to read. Since it's editing, we're going to read sentence by sentence by sentence, looking for mistakes, but especially stopping and drawing attention to the sentences that we know they're going to ask us questions about. I haven't is a contraction for have not. I have not always been a great baseball player. If you split up that contraction, give yourself a tally mark. In fact, I used to be the worst player on my team. I was so bad that I figured that the coach wouldn't is a contraction for would not. I was so bad that I had figured the coach would not care if I got bored at practice and laid down in the outfield. Would not would work. But that sentence is marked, so let's see. I was so bad that I figured the coach would not care if I got bored at practice to lay down. The coach. Now if it said Coach Compton, we would know that that would be a name, the coach. But in this situation, it does not say a specific name. So if this needs to be capitalized, you should be able to plug in a name for it. Let's say your coach's name is Bobby. Then if this is his name and it needs to be capitalized, we should be able to plug in a person's name and see if it would work. I was so bad that I figured the Bobby wouldn't care. Would it make sense to say the Bobby? No, it wouldn't. So since you can't plug a name in to make this work, that means it is not a proper noun. It does not need to be capitalized. So you would lowercase coach. If you did that, give yourself a tally mark. He knew that I wasn't as a contraction for was not. He knew that I was not going to contribute to the team anyway. I really stink. I started playing baseball when I was just 5 years old. My older brother Stan had graduated from t-ball to baseball and had given me his old glove. It was a soft Wilson glove, and I was very proud of it. Oh, we're to another sentence that they are going to ask us a question about. I was sure that with just a little more practice, I would be catching and throwing just as good as Stan does. Well, when I look at the word good, I don't know if this is one of our answer choices, but oftentimes people get good and well confused. Are you well or are you good? What you can remember on this is if it's good, it's usually giving you more information about a noun. So it is, when it's a noun, you use the word good. It's an adjective because it's giving you more information about a noun. Well is often used as an adverb, which is giving you more information over a verb or action. What is this good giving you more information about? It's giving you more information about throwing, and it's giving you more information about catching. Throwing and catching are both verbs, so instead of good, you need to bloop out good and insert well. So our new sentence would say, I was sure that with a little more practice, I would be catching and throwing just as well as Stan does. If you did that, give yourself a tally mark. That one was a toughie. Unfortunately, the practice didn't is a contraction for did not. Unfortunately, the practice did not help. If you split up that contraction, give yourself a tally mark. No matter how hard I tried, I couldn't. Couldn't is a contraction for could not. I could not throw or catch a ball. The glove just didn't. Didn't is a contraction for did not. I'm sorry. If you check that, give yourself a tally mark. If you check that, give yourself a tally mark. The glove just did not feel right. Sentence 13, they're going to ask us a question about 13. I wanted to take it off. My dad kept telling me that I would get used to it. When I look at this sentence, I'm immediately drawn to this comma because I'm wondering if we might need a fanboy word to make our sentence complete. So I'm going to circle my comma and I'm going to check on this side and then I'm going to check on this side. I wanted to take it off. Is that a complete sentence? I is the subject. What did I do? I wanted to take it off. That is a complete sentence. My dad kept telling me that I would get used to it. Who or what is it about? My dad, what did he do? He kept telling me. So that's a complete sentence. So it's complete on the left, complete on the right. It needs both a comma and a fanboy to make it right. In this case, we only have a comma, so we need a fanboy. We got to decide which fanboy word might work. I wanted to take it off, and my dad kept telling me, and is a fanboy word. What if we said, I wanted to take it off, but? So let's try that. I'm not sure what the answer choices are going to give us right now, but let's try that. I wanted to take it off, comma, but my dad kept telling me that I would get used to it. If you did that, give yourself a tally mark. Sentence 14. This went on for months. Sentence 15. Although I wanted to quit, my dad wouldn't. Wouldn't is a contraction for would not. My dad would not hear of it. If you check that contraction, give yourself a tally mark. Oh my word, this has lots of contractions. I didn't. Didn't is a contraction for did not. I did not want to disappoint him, so I kept trying. Then one day, everything changed. It was time for me to move from t-ball to baseball, comma, and my dad decided that I needed a new glove. Decided is misspelled. That popped right out at me. It should be D-E-C-I-D-E-D. So you could bloop out the S and insert a C, or you could bloop out the whole word and write it correctly. D-E-C-I-D-E-D. If you did that, give yourself a tally mark. We went to the store and I started trying on gloves. One that I slipped on my right hand felt surprisingly good. Take that off, Dad said. That glove is for a left-handed player. But I didn't. Didn't is a contraction for did not. But I did not want to. So if you check that contraction, give yourself a tally mark. But I did not want to take it off. It felt more natural than any glove I ever wore. I kept the glove on my right hand and picked up the ball with my left. When I look, I don't see any spelling problems or capitalization problems. What I am drawn to is this comma and a fanboy. Always check the commas and I always check the fanboys right here. So when I look on this side, I kept the glove on my right hand. That's a complete sentence. When I look on this side, because here what is about I, what did I do? I kept the glove. On this side, picked up the ball with my left hand. Who or what is about? I did, but it doesn't say that. It doesn't say I picked up the ball. It just says picked up the ball, so it doesn't have a subject. So it's not complete on the left. Complete on the right, not complete on the left, so it does not need a comma and a fanboy to make it right. So in this case, I kept the glove on my right hand and picked up a ball with my left. So I don't need both the comma and the fanboy. I'm just going to leave the fanboy and I'm going to bloop out the comma. So my new sentence says, I kept the glove on my right hand and picked up the ball with my left. If you did that, give yourself a tally mark. Right there in the store, I tossed the ball to my dad. It was amazing. The ball went straight to him. And when he tossed it back, I caught it. After a few more tosses, I figured out what my problem had been all these years. I'm is a contraction for I am. If you check that, give yourself a tally mark. I am a left-handed thrower. My dad and I were both surprised because I eat and write with my right hand, but for some reason I can throw only with my left hand. The very next day I started throwing and batting left-handed. Within a few weeks I had moved from the outfield to first base and finally to the pitcher's mound. When I'm looking at this sentence, I don't see any spelling problems right at the bat. Let's check this and see if we need a comma. So I'm going to circle and I'm going to check on this side. Within a few weeks, I had moved from outfield to first base. That's a complete sentence. Let's look on this side. Finally, to the pitcher's mound. Well, finally to the pitcher's mound is not a complete sentence because it doesn't have a subject. I had moved, that's the subject and verb on this side. This one doesn't have a subject, a subject, so it's not complete. So it's complete on the left, not on the right, so it does not need a comma and a fanboy to make it right. So it just needs a fanboy, it doesn't need the comma. So when I look at other choices, I see this right here. Pitchers. Pitchers ends in an S. That means that we're talking about more than one pitcher. That works good unless something belongs to the pitchers, and that's supposed to be a possessive S. So, within a few weeks, I had moved from the outfield to first base and finally to the pitcher's mound. It's the mound that belongs to the pitcher. It's the pitcher's mound. So we're not talking about more than one pitcher, because in baseball, you just have one pitcher at a time. It's the mound that belongs to the pitcher at that time, the pitcher's mound. So you should have inserted an apostrophe between R and S. If you did that, give yourself a tally mark. Sentence 35. In time, I became one of the best players on my team. Today, Stan's old Wilson glove sits on a shelf in my room. It reminds me to never give up and always trust my instincts. Sometimes the answer to a problem is as simple as trying a new glove on the other hand. Oh, so look, that's very crafty and very clever, because on the other hand, it comes back right here. It starts with on the other hand, and it ends with on the other hand. Sometimes the answer to a problem is as simple as trying on a new glove on the other hand. This is a really clever story, and I hope you boys that love playing baseball, I'm pretty sure, well, I guess the girls could play softball, but I'm pretty sure you understand exactly what they're talking about. So from looking at my story, I haven't even got to my questions yet, but you can tell by looking at my story that I've tried to find mistakes. I've broken up all of my contractions. Every sentence that I read, I tried to find at least one thing that I thought was wrong with it. If you did that, then you're doing it correctly. If you get to your questions and you have absolutely no marks on your paper, then you're not doing this correctly.